Staying with the Lions for a moment, and former skipper Martin Johnson has spoken exclusively to Rugby HQ. His thoughts on the Wallabies and what he expects will be a new-look Lions squad, and he likes what he sees. These are Martin Johnson's thoughts.
I think it's a little bit of a transitional time, not in a bad way either. I think there's a lot of good young players coming through, so it's going to be quite a fresh Lions team. Often you get, sometimes the Lions team is very similar to the previous one. And other times you go, 97, there was very few guys who played in 93 in that squad. And a lot of them then played 4 years later. So I think this is going to be quite a fresh Lions team.
Stuart Hogg to fall, and he scores for Scotland.
Some tough calls to make, some really tough calls to make. And that's the biggest thing, selection, I think. You get that right, you get the right people, you're all pulling together, you're on your way, you've got a chance. If you've got some guys there who've gone up to it, frankly, then you've got to carry them, and that's tough.
Cummins on the outside! Try time, Wallabies!
Shouldn't be underestimated. I mean, the usual thing will come out, their scrums are weak, or their front fives, this and that. They'll be up for it. They play South Africa and New Zealand a lot. They're used to playing big physical teams. This comes around, unless you're exceptionally lucky, once in a generation for them. I mean, it's 12 years since we've been there. Lots of guys had a big career between Lions tours, so it's a huge thing, I think, and it'll be their big focus. So they're smart. They make the best of what they've got. They've got some very talented players, but if they do have any, areas where they're not as strong, they cover them up better than any other team, and they'll be difficult to beat. They'll desperately want to win a series. They're smart rugby players. I always found them very, very smart. You can sort of think you've got them, and then they can score and come right back into it, as happened in 01.
Is Wilkinson intercepted? Joe Rock, can he get there? It's a try.
People talk about blends of nations and ages. You've got to take the best players. You've got to take the right people. You want guys who can deal with being on tour, because it will find you out. It's tough. It's tough in every way. It's a long tour at the end of a long season. There's a lot of travelling. It's different to playing, to being on tour as a sole nation. It's a huge following. There's a huge, it's the biggest rugby games going on in the world at that point by a long, long way. You hear all these great names, and Gareth Edwards and JPRs and Willie Johns, and they're sort of names of mystique and of the past, and you get to meet them when you're a bit older and hear the stories, and it's just a great thing. It's one of the great things of rugby, the Lions tour. It's quirky. There's no Lions football team, It's a bit quirky and a bit different, and it's great.